There are films that withstand the test of time. Bonnie and Clyde is one of those films, possibly the greatest outlaw flick of all time, and coming in an era, 1967 to be exact, when Hollywood was very comfortable creating lighter fare that didn't push boundaries. And here comes Bonnie and Clyde to show audiences just what pain and real agony look like, all while striving for a simple goal, a better life. Based on the real-life duo, Bonnie and Clyde decide to engage in a life of crime together after a bored waitress meets a shifty ex-con. It was magic, all right. You see, Clyde was trying to steal Bonnie's car, and it was love at first sight. What kind of love is still up for debate. Bonnie, you sure know how to pick 'em. I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick, and today we're heading back to the Great Depression to check back in on Bonnie, Clyde, and the Barrow Gang to see what they're up to today. If you enjoy our video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel or else I'll have to rob you blind. Warren Beatty.
Is that your money or the bank's?
Mine.
You keep it then. Next time I'll aim a little lower.
Clyde Barrow is the ex-con who looks mighty good wielding those guns, but his actor earned his Oscar nomination with his more personal, troubled scenes. Beatty gives a phenomenal performance and did so with the pressures of producing the film square on those confident shoulders.
You know, I have pants hangers for my pants.
Warren Beatty began acting in Hollywood in 1957 and gained some traction playing Milton on a few season 1 episodes of The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. His film debut was 1961's Splendor in the Grass alongside Natalie Wood. And although the two didn't get along too well during filming, as Warren was reportedly difficult to work with, they did date for a time after her first marriage with Wagner. And yeah, leave it to Hollywood playboy Warren Beatty to then date Lana Wood, Natalie's sister, for a time as well. Both relationships were not too serious, and Warren didn't even attend Natalie's funeral. But for more on her mysterious and tragic death, you'll have to check out our deep dive on that. The guy tried his hand at several aspects of movie making, and by 1979's Heaven Can Wait, he earned nominations for Best Actor, Best Picture for producing, Best Director, and even adapted screenplay for which he shared with Elaine May. I mean, what? Surprisingly, however, his lone Oscar win was for 1981's Reds, a biographical drama for which he again did many of the chief roles and took home the Oscar for directing, actually beating Steven Spielberg for Raiders of the Lost Ark. This kind of wild success continued into the 90s with 1991's Bugsy, as well as 1998's political satire Bulworth. But after the poor box office showing of Beatty's Town and Country in 2001, he did not appear in or direct another film for 15 years. Today, Warren Beatty is 85 years old and still kicking it. And I'm sure you know, but his sister is The Apartment's Shirley MacLaine, and his wife is another stellar actress, Annette Bening. They married in 1992 and have 4 children together. The Beatty family has forever impacted American cinema. Quite impressive. Gene Hackman. Buck Barrow is a member of the Barrow Gang and older bro of Clyde. Gene certainly made an impact in his first big film role, earning a supporting actor nomination, as well as so much clout he nearly accepted the role of Mike Brady on the Brady Bunch. Hackman's career began slowly actually, as a member of the Pasadena Playhouse, where he and lifelong friend Dustin Hoffman were both voted 1956's least likely to succeed. I mean, what a disastrous vote. One which he proved very wrong with his disastrous movie, The Poseidon Adventure, as well as winning his first Oscar for The French Connection in 1971. No one could forget his comedic foil to Superman playing Lex Luthor.
Possibly you've heard the name, the greatest criminal mind on Earth.
I told you this was a puny planet.
Or his second Oscar-winning performance with 1992's Unforgiven. He actually retired from acting back in 2004 to focus on his second love, writing historical fiction novels. And we have an entire video dedicated to the 92-year-old actor's full life and career, if you want to learn a little more about the legendary Gene Hackman. Estelle Parsons.
You almost got us killed! What did I do wrong? I thought you'd be having your back and shot!
Blanche is Buck's wife who married him after his release from prison, and while she never used a gun, she was involved in the incidents that pit the Barrow gang against the cops. And Parsons hit this one out of the park and took home the only Oscar win for acting, helping the picture win 2 along with cinematography. Parsons began acting in 1963, but she was on TV before that, working as a writer, producer, and commentator for The Today Show. With a background in law, she was hired by Today back in 1952, becoming the first TV network political news reporter. But her Blanche was her claim to acting glory, even playing a Blanche for 2 episodes of All in the Family in season 9. Beginning in the 80s, she shone bright as the manipulative mother of Roseanne Beverly Harris. Today, Parsons is 94 years old and has taught acting at universities like Yale and Columbia, among many. And her Beverly will never be forgotten, as in 2003, her character was honored with the TV Land Award for Favorite Classic TV In-Law. And I must agree. Denver Pyle. Frank is the Texas Ranger who led the 1934 posse that tracked down and killed Bonnie and Clyde. Uh-oh, spoiler alert. Originally, Morgan Woodward was slated to play Frank, but when filming of Cool Hand Luke fell behind, Denver Pyle got the gig. Pyle's career began to take off with 14 appearances on the show The Range Rider starting in 1951. But the guy has had one extensive career, with his first recurring character being Briscoe Darling on The Incredible Andy Griffith Show. His Buck Webb was a huge part of the Doris Day Show in 1968. In 1988, Pyle created Uncle Jesse's Fishing Tournament in Paris, Texas, raising thousands of dollars for children's charities, and it's still going strong today. Of course, that fishing tournament based on one of his most popular characters, Uncle Jesse Duke on The Dukes of Hazzard. His Jesse Duke was one of his final roles, as he died at 77 years old on Christmas Day in 1997. Evans Evans and Gene Wilder.
How old are you, honey? I'm 33.
Velma Davis and Eugene Grizzard are an unlucky couple squeezed into a car between a bunch of barrows until Bonnie gives the word to get them out of here. They both portrayed the fear and helplessness that one would have in such company. This was Gene Wilder's film debut, and we all know the sweet treats he got into after. Certainly one of the best actors of the era. Wilder passed away in 2016 at the age of 83. Evans Evans, first, what a name, began acting in 1957 and appeared in over 25 feature film and TV shows, including The Twilight Zone and The Alfred Hitchcock Hour. But she didn't act too frequently. We last saw her in an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark back in 1994. She married 7 Days in May director John Frankenheimer back in 1963, and they remained together until his death in 2002. Today, Evans is 84 years old and lives a quiet, private life. Michael J. Pollard. C.W. Moss is the dim-witted gas station attendant who drove getaway cars and shed tears after each victim the gang took. Pollard was well known for his short stature, being perfect for youthful roles well into his 20s. He too enjoyed a quick 2-episode stint on Dobie Gillis, and he had a great career with some personal favorites being his late 80s films, 1987's Roxanne alongside Steve Martin, as well as playing Owen in 1989's Tango and Cash. His career slowed in the 2000s, one of his final prominent roles being Stucky in House of a Thousand Corpses. Michael was married to Alice actress Beth Howland back in the 1960s, and they have one daughter together. But sadly, Michael J. Pollard died in November of 2019 at age 80. I am sure that many cried at his passing as well. Faye Dunaway.
Hey, boy! What you doing with my mama's car?
Bonnie Parker joins Clyde on the run from the law, and Faye is just so beautiful and expressive in this sexually charged role. It's no wonder she became a film and fashion icon because of it. Faye stepped off the stage and onto the silver screen in 1967 with both the comedic film The Happening and her trigger-happy Bonnie Parker. beating out the likes of Jane Fonda and Anne Margaret for the gig. Reportedly, Warren's sis, Shirley MacLaine, was strongly considered for Bonnie. That was until Warren fully decided to tackle Clyde. After Bonnie and Clyde, Dunaway was involved in another hit, 1968's The Thomas Crown Affair opposite Steve McQueen. She was hired directly off her scenes from Bonnie and Clyde. The late 60s into the 70s brought some career setbacks for Dunaway. Both her films, Doc and The Deadly Trap, were financial flops. Thankfully, a career resurgence came with 1974's Chinatown, further supplanting Faye as the female leader of the second golden age of Hollywood. And she was once again masterful, this time drawing Jack Nicholson into a complicated mess. Dunaway would later call Chinatown, quote, "possibly the best film I ever made. Just don't tell Warren Beatty that." Her career evolved to more mature and character roles, beginning with her controversial portrayal of Joan Crawford. Yes, I am talking about 1981's Mommy Dearest.
No more hangers!
Faye has always been protective of her private life. She rarely gives interviews and makes very few public appearances. She's been married twice, first to singer Peter Wolf, and then to photographer Terry O'Neill, with whom she had a son named Liam. Most recently in 2019, Dunaway's temperament finally caught up with her. She was working on a stage play, Tea at 5, when she apparently slapped one of the crew members and was released from the show. A lawsuit was filed for alleged homophobic verbal harassment. Yikes. Today, Faye is 81 years old, and her last film role was 2017's The Bye-Bye Man, and I'll take that as a cue to go bye-bye myself. But before I do need your thoughts on both Bonnie and Clyde. Heck, the whole film. Tell me who delivers the best performance. Is this the best film from the 1960s? And what do you recall, if anything, about the real Bonnie and Clyde? Get in the comments and let me know. As always, please smash that thumbs up icon if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a memory. But from all of us here at Do You Remember, we want to thank you for watching.